Hey guys, welcome back to another video. You've been asking for it. It's the Art Pro 1401. Let's check it out. Design brief for the 1401 really was something incredibly glidey, but still fast and user-friendly obviously, but something designed for big guys who are winging in light wind, dock starters, and really light wind downwinding. You could surf it if you wanted to pump around for ages, but in the design process I got to talk to Adrian about his testing that he'd done. So people are asking, why didn't they make a 1301? And that's because it ended up being too close to the 1201. The thing I like about the 1401 is there is a clear enough distinction in bottom end and glide and pump that if you have a 1201, you could still justify having a 1401.
Just got into the editing booth and I've just noticed that my shirt now says, do you him? Do you him? It's supposed to be do you shim.
The main point of this video is, does this replace the PNG 1300 as sort of the best foil to start downwinding on? And my opinion is genuinely yes. So I want to start with that because it's such a common question I've had. My reasons are simple: black fuse, so that's so much better for you to be able to pick other foils in the range for surfing and whatever else. But the main reason is that this has incredible low end and glide, but it actually is a better foil to learn on. So let's jump into that. I've been sprouting the virtues of the PNG 1300 for 2 years, ever since I had one. I do think that's now changed. I would recommend that people that are starting to downwind get this for the exact same reasons that originally was people getting the 1300. I think there's some added benefits. The PNG 1300, when you're learning to paddle it up, you're not learning to paddle the board. And I actually made a video about this, and the PNG 1300 was the foil that taught me that bad habit. You're paddling up the foil, not the board. And you don't need any board speed. You can just literally power through it and it will get up. Now that's fine in the flat water, but it's actually a bad teaching tool because you're sort of learning a party trick. But that foil being so thick, that's what gives it that characteristic. But then when you're out in the bumps, it's got good top end for what it is, but this has much better top end. There's two reasons. The first is, I think as a foil that's trying to teach you to progress in your downwinding, this will be incrementally harder to paddle up. I think that's the case because it's thinner. However, it's still very easy to paddle up. It's easy enough, but it still gives you a challenge, and it's teaching you the right skill, which is board speed, not paddling up the foil. So the things like the PNG 1310, I was not a fan of. Too thick, too slow. I didn't like it at all. Other people did, I didn't. 1150 was okay. 1300, I really like that foil. They're so thick that when you paddle them up, you're just paddling the foil. You're not really paddling the board. This is such a nice compromise in my head that you still need a little bit of board speed. It's still really easy to get up. I can get it up incredibly easy, but it just requires a little bit more board speed, which is what you're supposed to be learning when you're in the flat. Same with the bumps, obviously. You need to be going down a bump and that'll get you up. Now, having said that, this still has an incredibly low lift-off speed. Like, we are talking in the extremes here. We're talking about huge foils that get up so easy. So don't think that this is like as hard as the 1121 or even the 1201. The 1201's harder than this by a fair margin. But this is a better teaching tool now to me than the PNG 1300, because getting up in the flat on a huge foil that's really thick is really just a party trick that's not that helpful. The dock starters out there, if you have a dock start wing, I'm not necessarily going to say, oh, this is what you should get and change across to this. I don't have any great rationale for that. The only thing I would say is black fuse is probably where the future's heading. This foil in regards to glide and speed is far superior to the old pump wings like the 1300 and 1310. It's just so much faster. And I personally much prefer that feeling if I'm dock starting. I don't want to be dock starting and going incredibly slow. And for me, the 1310 was that foil. This is just my opinion. The 1310 was a bit of a misstep. The market demanded it, and I don't think that foil delivered. Just because a consumer says this is a great idea doesn't mean it is. That foil is so draggy. It's incredibly draggy that, yeah, you might be able to stay on foil, but you're not covering any distance, and you're not covering any distance at speed. This is different. This, you can cover distance with speed and still have time. So I did my longest dock start I've ever done, and I was at the end of a session after a bunch of paddle ups. So I reckon I could do about 3 minutes on this, which is not, record breaking or anything, but my previous was about 1:45 on the PNG 1300. The other question that I've been getting is about, do you need the ultra carbon mast to run this foil? No, I don't think you do. The aluminium mast is still one of the stiffest masts on the market. Will it be as good as the ultra carbon? Of course not. The ultra carbon is the absolute cream of the crop mast in regards to profile and stiffness. Having said that, things like the high mod carbon, the power carbon, you'll be fine. You'll feel more flex than I do on my mast, but you will still be able to very much enjoy this foil for all the purposes that it has. I had a great time on my PNG 1300 on an aluminium 82 mast for a year. Yes, this foil will be at its best on the stiffest mast possible, but I think you do not need to get the ultra carbon. And if that's stopping you, well, all it does is make this foil as good as it can be, but it's not a requirement. So the other place that this foil is obviously going to be handy to have is super light wind downwinding.
The 1401 on, we've got about 8 knots of wind, which has only just come up. There's tiny bumps, really tiny. You wouldn't be able to light wind wing this unless you're on like a 7 meter with a big foil. So that's probably the comparison that I'd make. So we're gonna see how well. Just gonna do a little 5K run. I haven't actually downwinded this foil yet, so this video wouldn't be complete unless I downwind it. So let's see how quickly I can get up. I'll leave it recording for that purpose. Oh, it's so stable. Wow. See how easily I can get up. A bit sore from yesterday, I'll be honest. So, there we go. Wow. Alright. Whoa. I was on the, I've been on the 1051. So, feels a little bit different. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Gotta catch this bump. There you go, alright. And we're off. Just finished with the 1401. Yeah, it can up and over. They can go really slow. I'll be interested to see what my times were. So I did 4 kilometers, and I was doing 3-minute kilometers. 3:05, 3:07. My average speed was 19.4 kilometers when on foil. So this foil can go incredibly slow, but it's still really gliding. I also took it for a session the following day. I didn't get any footage, and it was almost straight on shore. And what this allowed me to do was catch the bumps in and pump straight out into the wind pretty much. And yeah, that was an interesting session. Just when you think about a race setting and you just don't know what conditions you're going to get that day, this is going to be really handy to have in your bag
if you're a downwind racer. I was wondering where it would fit for me because I have so many foils, but I genuinely think that if I was going to a race meet and the forecast looks a bit dodgy, I'm going to put this in the bag, because some of those races, it's really just who finishes. It doesn't matter how quick you are. I'm obviously not going to be as fast as my 1121, but as long as you finish, this will always be in the bag if conditions look light. But the other thing I want to try and do, which I haven't tried yet because conditions haven't been right, is I want to try and do my hour in the surf. And it might actually be better off to do it on the 1201, because I've still never tried it, because you'll get less tip breaches. But I still think it's a consideration that I could use this foil, because my first few waves that I caught on this, I was up for like 10 minutes and I barely even tried. So, but the benefit of this is it can keep up with the swell, and you don't have to pump to catch up to the swell. Whereas on the PNG 1300, when I used it, you were like always falling off the back of them because there was a little bit too slow. Anyway, they're just my rough thoughts on the 1401. I genuinely thought, where the hell am I going to use this? And yeah, I had 2 days last week that I used it. Conditions were marginal. I actually had a great time. So the final question would be winging. I haven't winged on it yet, but as you can imagine, this is going to have incredible low end. Whack this on a downwind board and you'll be able to get up in whatever can get the board moving. Hopefully that's an interesting video. Hope you've enjoyed this. I want to thank Axis, who support me and allow me to test all these super cool things. And I absolutely love it, because it just means I'm on the water more and more. So I hope the 1401 finds its way into your quiver. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.